Wallet of Satoshi, which is a full custodial wallet, or has been a full custodial wallet, they now also offer the possibility to self-custody your Bitcoin through their wallet. So Wallet of Satoshi is using a technology called Spark from a company called Lightspark. So basically Wallet of Satoshi, the developers took the solution from Lightspark and implemented it into their wallet. So the question is this now real self-custody or no? Spark is basically a technology that is using so-called state chains. And they have a lot of advantages, but also some drawbacks. It's a tool that is trying to scale the Lightning Network and offer self-custody to the users, which up until now only had self-custodial Lightning when they were using a wallet like Phoenix, for instance. Phoenix is a great wallet and a great self-custodial Lightning tool, but it has relatively high fees sometimes. And you never know how high are they at the time where I'm using it or not. So Spark wants to be a way to solve that problem. And the problem is that it's neither self-custody nor really custody. It's better to say it's not trustless. And what we are always saying in Bitcoin is the advantage of Bitcoin is that it is a solution where you as an individual can unilaterally get your Bitcoin and move it out or move it. You don't need an intermediary. You don't need to trust an intermediary to use your Bitcoin. So there is no censorship and no other party has the ability to prevent you as a user from spending your funds or regaining the ability to use it and spend it without the involvement of others. And here the problem comes in with Spark. Lightspark is the company behind Spark, and you need basically Spark entities to run the technology. So, for instance, there's one big problem with Spark, which is it's not really trustless. You still need to trust Spark that they delete the keys of transactions that have already happened. So a Spark user and Spark could collude and steal user funds. And that, of course, is not what self-custody is about. So it's basically neither not self-custody, because you can unilaterally cash out your money from Spark. This is possible. You don't need to rely on Spark. But on the other hand, you can't verify and you don't know if Spark or some employee or hacker or a rogue person modifies the code to steal money. You don't know that. But the claim to say it's self-custody is actually a little bit, you don't know, okay? Actually, they should say it's self-custody, but you gotta trust us. And another risk factor with Spark is that it's a company behind it, and that company could have governments intervening in saying, hey, you have got to freeze funds until you provide KYC for us. Because the upside of Spark is it works without KYC. You don't need to identify yourself. But on the other hand, there's this company behind. And if the regulators say you're not allowed to process these payments as long as we don't know who they are from and who they are for, then the government can come in and tell them to freeze payments. So it's a trust model that you have to rely upon and trust. And that's why I say it's not trustless. Also, there are some centralization risks with Spark, and it can be censored by Spark entities, which are entities, they are a little bit like Lightning service providers. They are basically processing the payments. So this is also a risk. There's a little bit of a censorship problem. And what for me at the moment is the biggest drawback for Spark is that it's basically not private at all. So all the positive sides that are coming with the Lightning Network, which is more privacy for the users than using on-chain transactions, because on-chain transactions are public. If you know a Bitcoin address, you can look up the balance and where it sent transactions to and where it got it from. This is in principle not possible with the Lightning Network, but now with Spark it is possible. So the company LightSpark made the compromise, I believe, or I assume, that they say we are non-KYC, so you don't need to identify yourself, but for the regulators we make it so that all the payments are public. So basically there's a website, it's called Spark Chain, it's like a blockchain explorer, where you can put in a transaction ID or a hash, and then you can see the amount. And there's also another tool I saw this week where someone built a tool where you can put in Lightning addresses from Wallet of Satoshi and then see the balance of the address. So this is this is the opposite of privacy protection, and I think this is a big drawback and something you should be aware of, because I don't think that most Lightning users or people want that their Lightning addresses and the balances are public, because of course we're always talking about how important privacy is. And so this is very surprising and rather disappointing, to be honest, because I believe the risk of a hacker or a rogue employee, yes, is there too, but I feel the privacy problem is a bigger problem than is it self-custody or not self-custody. Everything together is not optimal. It's not the perfect solution, but the problem is there is no perfect solution at the moment, and I'm not really sure if there ever will be the perfect self-custodial, trustless solution for Lightning or on-chain. I don't think that this ever will happen, but maybe in the next 10 years, I don't know. But for now, we need to learn about the different advantages and disadvantages of wallets. And I think it's very important to tell the people we are onboarding or who we are showing which wallets to use, to tell them what the downsides of these wallets are. Because actually the custodial Wallet of Satoshi, yes, it's custodial, you fully have to trust a Wallet of Satoshi, but on the other hand it's private. Only Wallet of Satoshi knows where you are sending payments to and where you're getting payments from. And even more, the Lightning Network itself is very private, but Spark is opening that up, and I feel that's really a big disappointment and disadvantage. While if you have real self-custody on Lightning, you don't have to trust anyone, because you always will be able to cash out unilaterally. In all the other technologies like Liquid, Spark, Arcade from Arc, or also Cashew and Fedi, you're trusting someone else. You're trusting a multi-sig, a multi-signature, or either a federation or some sort of people and counterparties to operate correctly, or you might lose your Bitcoin. So Spark and Spark in Wallet of Satoshi, and Spark will be implemented in many other wallets as well. It's not the absolute best solution because of it's not trustless, it's not private, and it's not really self-custody, and it's not really custody. So no wallet is actually perfect. The user or the people who want to use Bitcoin, they have to choose what their use case is, what their risk profile is, because if you work with a human rights activist, you will need to give them tools where their Bitcoin their transactions, Lightning or Bitcoin, are fully private or as private as possible and non-KYC. And maybe it doesn't need to be self-custody because they immediately exchange it or buy something from it. So it's always a question of what's the higher risk for this person? What's their use case? And therefore we need to choose wallets, and that's why it's so important as educators that you know the principles behind these wallets. And it just also goes to show that this space is a space of fast moving new technologies coming. Sometimes it takes years and suddenly they are here, and then we have to adapt and maybe recommend different wallets. It's all a weighing of advantages and disadvantages. Hello, my name is Anita Posch, and if you liked that video, please subscribe to my channel now to inspire me to create more content like this. And if you want to learn more about Bitcoin, then sign up for my free weekly Bitcoin newsletter at anita.link/news.